you're playing a conductor, and then it's like, but with this weekend we're going out to the Formula One racetrack. It's like there's so many unexpected textures in this. It's an action movie.
Do you ever find yourself overwhelmed by emotion?
Yes, that does happen.
Your director, Todd Field, said that there would be no Tár without you, Cate. Did you know that going in, and were you able to use it to your advantage at all?
Was I able to manipulate Todd into a corner where he did exactly what I wanted him to do? No, I did not put a bigger trailer. No, I did not know that, and I'm really pleased I did not know that. I was daunted enough by the demands of the role, and not just the demands of the role, but actually rising to the big questions that Todd had placed into the screenplay. There are big questions about power and who is complicit in holding up these power structures. And I think there are a lot of questions, big questions that I'd been asking myself over recent years that I really wanted to not necessarily answer, but ask in a really rich way. And so there was a lot to do to make those questions really alive for an audience.
There is just no one else that could be Lydia, I find. So Todd is completely right. Yeah. There's nothing to add.
I completely agree. I mean, she plays a conductor that's at the top of her game, right? So that requires a character who demands a lot, demands respect, got a lot of charisma, authority, but also this genius. And I think Cate really is amazing at those characters. I also think Cate is extremely intelligent and musical, actually. I think if she had decided to dedicate her life to being a musician way back when, then she would, be at the top of her game. She would be the real life Lydia Tár. It really is Cate conducting the orchestra. There's no click track. It's not done in post. It's the orchestra responding and playing with her. And that is no easy thing. She just did amazingly. I mean, she produced a sound that some conductors dream of producing. So that is like a huge achievement in itself.
Well, it's a rehearsal movie, and so we had to identify certain sections of Mahler's Fifth Symphony because that's what they're rehearsing. And the gift that I think we all had was that the orchestra had not played together, hadn't played big works together because of the pandemic. So they were coming back to the big works at the same time that I was stepping onto the podium. And the first thing I said to them was that they weren't actors and I wasn't a conductor, and that we had to find our way together. And they were so generous. And when you give the downbeat and that sound comes back at you, it is really, really something else. I've been shifted off my axis because of that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And Todd, do you see now from directing this a parallel between the role of a conductor and that of a film director?
Oh, certainly, yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, both things require an instrument that involves tens of dozens or hundreds of people. A full complement orchestra is 100 plus players. That is a conductor's instrument. If you are a film director, you're dealing with anywhere from 25 to 100 plus people, and into post hundreds of people. You can't do it alone. Many are the hands in music, and many are the hands on a film. But you have to manage those things, and you have to manage a lot of people, and people are different, and people respond to different things. And some people you play with very well, and some people you play with not so well. So I think there's clear parallels between the two.
In the orchestra, everyone has all their different roles, like a crew, and everyone's working together to, in this case, realize Todd's vision and dream. And I think some parallels there could be made, maybe. I definitely think that one thing that, in addition to, having worked with a lot of conductors, that kind of prepared me for acting in front of lots of people on set and being able to respond to Todd's direction was playing in cello masterclasses, where you're effectively receiving direction and having to act on it immediately in front of an audience, and having to play at your absolute best, and also trying to kind of build this relationship or kind of charm this teacher who you may or may not have met before. And I really think that prepared me, now I think about it, really well for the kind of pressure of acting on set in front of all these people, and with the time pressures as well, and, you know, just having to be able to do your job, I guess. And then again, you know, if you're working with a conductor in an orchestra, you can't just go, no, sorry, I don't really feel like I can do it today. I mean, I'm sorry. Musicians just always have to get the job done, or, you know, we're always striving to achieve excellence.
We have a problem.
Mina, how did you create your connection to Cate's character?
As the partner of Lydia, I was working on who's that person that really wants to be with someone like that, and where did they meet, and what is the connection that they both have. And for me, it was the music, and that they're both really accomplished musicians in the two most powerful positions you can have within an orchestra. And you are being challenged in these positions all the time. It never stops. You have to prove yourself all the time. So Sharon is someone who has to bring that kind of confidence up also, but she does it in a way they approach things.
You know, Tár begins by dispelling that misconception that a conductor is just a human metronome conducting time. Did you enter this film with other misconceptions about this world, or ideas that evolved as you dove into Tár?
I must say, I mean, I've been to classical music concerts, you know, chamber works, contemporary concerts. You know, one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my life was Sonic Youth. You know, my taste is really eclectic. I didn't really have preconceptions about it, but I learned an enormous amount of the infrastructure behind running an orchestra. And I myself had run a cultural institution with my husband in the Sydney Theatre Company, so I knew very much about the escape to the rehearsal room, and that 70% of one's time is running an institution. And so how that has on one as an artist, you know, when you don't get to do the thing that you want to do, but you get caught up in the politics of running the place. So that felt very strangely familiar to me. But it was interesting because there's a kind of a boarding house culture in tenured orchestras, because they're together all the time. And so the HR component of being a conductor, I think in the contemporary world, is really important. But if you go back in time to Furtwängler and von Karajan and even like Russian orchestras, you know, with Gergiev, that is something that is much more brutally dealt with, you know. And so it's seeing that balancing act that goes on, and then there's the music on top of it, you know. So that was, at once familiar, but complicated.
You must service the composer. You gotta sublimate yourself. Your ego, and yes, your identity.
You also had to play the piano, play the accordion, conduct the orchestra, even driving stunts as well. Can you talk us through that process?
That was fun.
That was fun. Driving, I can't remember that intersection in Berlin, but
Alexanderplatz, the most famous intersection in all of Berlin.
Yeah, but we went out to a racing track at like 400 kilometers an hour in this silent Porsche. Yeah. It was, I mean, you wouldn't, you're playing a conductor, and then it's like, but with this weekend we're going out to the Formula One racetrack. It's like, there's so many unexpected textures in this. It's an action movie, you know, but there's so many unexpected textures in the film.
And Cate, we see a shared energy with your Bob Dylan doppelganger from I'm Not There, Jude Quinn. Were you able to take anything from that musical journey to this one?
In what sense shared energy? I was slightly hairier in the Bob Dylan.
But still, yeah, absolutely. A difficult interview on either one, you know, an iconoclast, and an inscrutable iconoclast too, where you're always kind of trying to figure out, like, you see Lydia doing one thing and you know she's got 10 other things going on. I just wondered if there was any of that.
Yeah, no, there's something that I really stuck with me in Todd's script, is that in the interview at the beginning, Adam Gopnik, the interviewer, says that Lydia Tár is many things and she's had a very varied career. And I think she takes that as an insult, that when one is one thing, when you're just an actor, or you're just a conductor, or you're just a visual artist, when you start to step outside your lane, then people don't know don't know which box to put you in, and that is an incredibly freeing thing as an artist. But it also means that you're ghettoized or dismissed. Yeah. And I think that Bob Dylan was an absolute shapeshifter. He refused to be categorized. And I think that Lydia takes, when people think they know who she is, she almost, often to her own detriment, will do the opposite, because she wants to remain unknowable.
Yeah.
Because once you're known as an artist, it can be a yoke around your neck. It can limit your freedom or your capacity to change. And I think we all want to keep changing and evolving, as you know, as artists and as well as human beings.